Hey, everybody, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Oh, always. Always ready.
Well, excellent.
Mhm.
Because today we're going to tackle the story of Joseph
Right.
from the book of Genesis.
Oh, wow. Yeah, what a story.
It's a doozy, it's betrayal,
Mm-hmm.
it's forgiveness,
Mm.
it's trust in a higher power,
Absolutely.
it's family reconciliation. I mean, it's
Mm.
kind of got it all right.
It really does. This is one of those stories that I think it just stays with you.
It does.
Across centuries, it's resonated with people. The themes are so powerful.
They are. So have you ever, been wronged by somebody you thought you could trust?
Oh, yeah. I think we all have in some way or another, right? I
Right.
mean, on a big scale or a small scale.
How'd you deal with it?
Well, sometimes better than others, I think.
Yeah.
Sometimes you hold on to that resentment,
Yeah.
and sometimes you're able to process it, forgive, and move on.
Yeah.
I think it depends.
Yeah. Did you find a way to, forgive and move forward, or did resentment take root?
Well, luckily, I think I've been able to forgive more often than not. But it's not easy.
Yeah.
Holding on to that bitterness, it's like a poison.
It is. It eats away at you.
Exactly.
So in this story, Joseph,
Yeah.
he's the main character, he goes through something pretty similar,
Yeah.
just on a, I don't know, 10-fold, 100-fold level.
Yeah. It's a pretty extreme example.
So for those who maybe need a refresher, Joseph, he's this young guy. He's kind of the favorite son. And his brothers are insanely jealous.
It's almost hard to fathom the level of jealousy.
I know. We're talking jealous enough to sell him into slavery.
Into slavery in Egypt.
In Egypt, I mean, can you even imagine?
I can't even imagine. What a brutal act of betrayal. I mean, just to think your own brother's doing that to you.
And you know he's young.
Yeah,
You know he must have gone through so much trauma.
absolutely.
You
Just
know.
to be ripped away from your family like that, sold into slavery, to think, starting a new life in a completely foreign land.
And just the uncertainty of it all.
Yeah, yeah. But it's amazing because even in those darkest moments, the story shows that he never loses sight of his faith.
It really is incredible. It's almost as if he knows or believes
Yeah.
that this is part of some larger plan.
That's what's so fascinating. He has this incredible resilience that just shines through. It's like he almost knows that even this horrible situation, it's going to lead to something bigger.
It's wild, right? And that resilience is what helps him not only survive, but thrive in Egypt.
Yeah.
Like he rises through the ranks and eventually becomes, this really powerful leader.
He does. And it's not just luck. It's his hard work.
Right.
It's his intelligence. And, some people would say divine guidance.
Yeah, definitely. But then the craziest thing happens, right?
Oh, yeah. This is where the story takes this wild turn.
Right. Famine strikes the land, and guess who shows up in Egypt desperate for food?
It's almost too perfect.
It is. It's his brothers.
Mhm.
But get this, they have no clue that the powerful leader they're standing in front of is the same brother they betrayed all those years ago.
Oh, talk about a family reunion.
One for the books, that's for sure.
It's like, what do you even say in that moment?
Right.
I mean, the tension must have been so thick you could cut it with a knife.
I can only imagine. So they're terrified. I mean, right, they're expecting revenge.
Oh, absolutely. Who wouldn't be in that situation?
I mean, they sold him into slavery.
Right. That's a pretty unforgivable act.
But what does Joseph do?
Well, he does something pretty remarkable.
He does.
He weeps. He embraces them, and he says, "Be not grieved, nor angry with yourselves that ye sold me hither. For God did send me before you to preserve life."
Gives me chills every time. To choose forgiveness after being so deeply, deeply wronged.
It's more than just forgiveness. It's radical compassion.
It is.
I mean, think about it. Joseph could have easily sought revenge. He had every right to. He had the power to.
He did.
But he chooses to see his suffering as part of a larger divine plan.
Yeah. A plan that ultimately saved his family and countless others. It's really making me wonder, could he have reached that level of forgiveness, without his faith?
That's the question, isn't it?
Without the belief that these horrible trials served some greater purpose?
It's a profound question, and I think that's what makes Joseph's story so powerful. It challenges us to examine our own lives.
Yeah.
When we face hardship, do we let bitterness take root?
Right.
Or do we try to understand the potential lessons hidden in those difficult experiences?
Like maybe there's some kind of opportunity for growth in those moments.
Exactly. It's like that idea that every cloud has a silver lining. But it takes effort, to shift your perspective and see the potential for growth, even when you're in the middle of pain.
It's really easy to just focus on the negative.
Oh, absolutely. And it's not about denying the pain. It's not
Yeah.
about minimizing the wrong that was done. It's about acknowledging it, processing it, and then choosing to move forward.
Choosing to move forward with a heart that's open to healing and reconciliation.
Exactly. And that's where vulnerability comes in. Joseph didn't just forgive his brothers with words. He wept. He embraced them. He allowed himself to be emotionally vulnerable.
Yeah. And that can be terrifying, to be honest.
Oh, absolutely. Especially in our world where vulnerability is often seen as weakness.
Right.
But Joseph's story shows us that real strength lies in having the courage to express our emotions honestly.
And to create space for genuine connection, even when it's messy and uncomfortable.
Exactly. And look at the ripple effect of Joseph's actions. By choosing forgiveness and reconciliation, he heals his own wounds. But he also creates a future where his family can thrive.
It's a beautiful illustration of restorative justice.
It really is. It's not about punishment. It's about understanding. It's about accountability. And ultimately, it's about rebuilding what was broken.
So how do we translate these ancient lessons to, our modern lives?
Yeah, how do we apply this?
Because let's be real, not every betrayal is, as dramatic as being sold into slavery.
True, true. But we all face situations where forgiveness feels impossible. We all have those moments where resentment threatens to consume us.
So where do we even begin?
Well, I think Joseph's story gives us a roadmap. It starts with recognizing the power of forgiveness, and not just for the person who wronged us.
Right. It's for ourselves.
Exactly. Because holding on to that anger, that bitterness, it only keeps us trapped in the past.
It's like carrying around a heavy weight.
Yes, and it prevents us from fully embracing the present.
And moving forward with any sense of peace or freedom.
Absolutely. Joseph's story also reminds us that vulnerability, that willingness to open our hearts, can be the key to unlocking those deeper, more authentic connections.
Even when it's scary. And maybe, just maybe, it encourages us to look for those potential silver linings in our own challenging experiences.
To trust that even in the darkest moments, there might be a purpose, a lesson, a path leading us towards a future we couldn't have imagined.
Yeah. It's about having faith, and not necessarily in a religious sense. But faith in the idea that even our struggles can be stepping stones to something greater.
And that even when we're faced with betrayal and heartbreak, there's always hope for healing, there's hope for reconciliation, and perhaps even unexpected blessings.
It really is amazing, isn't it? How this story that's from thousands of years ago can still resonate with us today.
It is, yeah. It's like Joseph's struggles, with the betrayal, with the forgiveness, and finding his purpose. They're these timeless human experiences that, we all kind of relate to, right?
You do.
Yeah.
And I think it speaks to the power of storytelling. These narratives that we've been passing down through generations, they offer us guidance, They offer comfort. They give us that sense of connection to something bigger than ourselves.
And that's a good thing.
Oh, yeah. Especially in a world where things can feel so chaotic
Yeah.
and uncertain.
There's something really, really reassuring about that.
There is. It's that reminder that we're not alone in these struggles. Others have walked this path before us.
Yeah.
And, they've come out on the other side with wisdom and resilience.
So, Joseph's story, it also kind of makes you think about faith.
It does. And not just in the, religious sense.
Right. But in the broader sense, like believing that our difficult experiences, they might actually serve a bigger purpose.
Believing that there might be a silver lining, even if we can't see it yet. It's about having the courage to kind of surrender to the unknown, knowing that we might just come out of the darkness, stronger and more compassionate than we ever thought possible.
It's a good thought.
Yeah, it's a powerful message. So as we're wrapping up this deep dive into the story of Joseph, I'd like to leave you with this. Take a moment. Think about a challenge you're facing in your own life.
It could be anything, a personal struggle, a relationship, even a setback in your career.
Now, think about it through the lens of Joseph's story. Could this challenge actually be an opportunity for growth?
A stepping stone to something, you haven't even imagined yet.
How could you maybe embrace vulnerability?
Practice forgiveness. Or even just trust in the unfolding of your own unique journey to lead you to a place of greater purpose.
That's great. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah.
We hope you found it insightful. We hope it was inspiring. And until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.